Well then, are you ready for a Harley Quinn makeup tutorial? For today's look, I had terrible bags under my eyes. So I'm using a reddish dark undertone from my Graftobian Corrections palette, and I'm taking that under my eyes and down the sides of my nose because I want to thin out my nose, and then using a really, really light concealer directly under my eyebrows. I'm going back in with my foundation mixed with just a little bit of BB cream and applying everything, smoothing everything out. Harley Quinn is supposed to be quite pale, so I'm trying to keep as pale as I already am, if not a little whiter. Going in with some cover up, I'm going over those under eye areas, making sure I'm getting them nice and clean and white. And then using some of that really, really, really light white stuff on the top of my nose, all the way down to the tip of my nose, and then under my eyes as well. I also applied this to where I would put my highlighter on my cheekbones so that, again, I could look as pale as possible. Top of my cheekbones, down the center of my nose, and blend. I'm now using the e.l.f. translucent powder, and I'm gonna powder everything in so it's nice and matte and crisp. If I'm worried about fallout when I do my makeup, I also use the translucent powder really heavy under my eyes while I'm doing my eyeshadow, and it catches all my fallout, and then I just use a massive fan brush to brush it all away when my eye look is finished. Moving on to my NYX Butt Naked palette. There's a contour or blush tone, that warm brown. I'm using that really light. I don't want to get too dark because, again, she doesn't have a lot of color in her skin, so I want to make sure that I'm sticking to that and staying nice and pale. But I still want to contour my face and give it a little bit of shape. Now I'm going in with the highlighter from this palette and touching my cheekbones, the tip of my nose, my Cupid's bow. There's that e.l.f. underneath the eyes that I was talking about earlier. I'm using my Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette and the brush it came with. And I'm going right into the crease of my eye. This doesn't have to be super perfect, but I want it to leave a light shadow underneath the colors that I'm going to put down next, and then I'll sharpen it and darken it later on in my makeup look. I definitely want them to be even, but they don't have to be super pigmented at this juncture in time because I'm going to be adding extra. Blend, 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 blend. First edition 120 BH Cosmetics palette. I'm using this bright, 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 bright red. that you can see from the video. I've obviously used a couple times before because there's a big old divot in it. And I'm lightly patting that onto my eyelid and blending over the dark that I already laid down. Not blending quite as high as where the dark was, but really close up to that line. Switching to the other side and a fresh brush so I'm not cross-contaminating colors, I'm using the bright blue from the same palette. And once again, patting onto that eyelid and then blending through that dark edge, but not past it, just up to it. Blending into the corner of my eyes. I'm not grabbing extra pigment. I'm just blending out with the pigment that's already in my brush because I want it to be lighter and not as prominent. And then I'm using a fluffy brush to blend out and kind of pick up some of the pigment on those inner corners because again, I want a light color but nothing crazy. Now I'm going back in with the fluffy end of my Naked Smoky brush and I'm patting in some darker pigments just into the corner crease about a third of the way to half the way across the top of the eyelid. So I'm patting it into just the corners and then blending it into the center crease and blending up toward the eyebrow. Now I'm using that little fluffy clean brush that I used earlier for blending out my corners. Going back, I'm coming in with like a china white matte color and continuing to blend out and add a little bit of a lightness directly below my brow. I'm using dark shadow to smoke out the bottom of my eyes rather than using a pencil or gel liner because I want it to be smoky and not messy smudgy, but just a little bit on the smudgier side. I chose not to do any lines that were too harsh or too crisp in this makeup because I felt like Harley is just not that gal. So I've put a little bit of this Stila to the side and I'm patting that in with my finger just to the inner corners of my eyes. So I'll get a little glitter and shine and it'll add a little bit of dimension. Packing in a couple layers. The more layers you put on, obviously the more shiny it's going to get. And then I'm going back with my pigment and just redefining it so that I can blend in some of my Stila glitter and make sure that the dark is not more prominent than the pigment itself. The Stila's got a little bit of stick to it too, so I feel like it makes my pigments really, really stand out. And obviously I was singing along to something on the radio while this was being filmed. I have no idea what. I think it was Green Day. I think we were listening to 90s. Alright, going back into that Graftobian palette, I've picked a dark cream to define my brows. I'm lining the outside and then filling the inside, going about halfway across my brows, just doing the tail end this way. I'm going to make sure that I have a really defined line all the way through the bottom of the brow and then gently blend out from the inner corner to the outer corner. I don't want it to get too thick, and I'm going to be using another product to define the hair so it gets a little bit more of a faded effect rather than just being one solid painted eyebrow. Turning your brush sideways like I'm doing right now and just catching the hairs on top with your pigment or color can also be helpful to making sure that it doesn't get too dark. The product I'm using right now is Essence. It's a brow mascara. Essence is the name of the company. Just painting through those hairs. And now I'm going in with a liquid liner that I honestly cannot tell you what brand I was using that day, but it was slightly metallic and beautiful. Any liquid liner will do just fine if you're trying to do this at home. Anyone that you like, obviously. Tiny wing. Again, I don't want too many crazy defined lines because I feel like that's just not Harley style. If you think it is, more power to you. You are more than welcome to take this very versatile character and interpret her however you like. For this particular costume, this was just the take that I decided to do. Alright, and I didn't show the product here, but I am using the Kitten Heel Red from NYX Cosmetics Liquid Suede Lip Stain. It is the first NYX lip stain that I ever tried and got me completely hooked on lip stains from NYX. I swear by them. I think I have at least 20 some of them. And they're the greatest. So I'm carefully lining with an angled brush. I'm trying to get a really nice full lip for this particular character and letting the definition that I have in my Cupid's bow show quite a bit. I always take way too long to do my lips, so you're only getting part of this video and I still feel like it's too long because I take forever. Sometime after I finished my lips, my video cut out completely. So for the millionth time on YouTube, you will not get to see me put my eyelashes on, which is fine by me because I honestly hate putting my lashes on camera. I feel like I look like a dope. My lips are taking so long, I should have gotten the Jeopardy song to play in the background instead. Anyway, here we go into the final look.